What is up, YouTube? Welcome to today's episode, following on from the last episode, which was downlights. I'm here to educate people on visually identifying something that's not safe and something that is safe. And I'm here to offer knowledge as to what is good to see and what is poor and bad to see. This is not CP Carpentry teaching you how to do electrics. Right guys, so first things first. I'm a carpenter and I'm trying to talk about electrics today purely because in the 10 plus odd years, and from the 17 to the 18 to the 18.1 edition and all the things that I've seen in my lifetime, I understand the simplest end of the market, and I understand it far better than most carpenters, I would nicely say. You know, I can pick this up and I can do a insulation resistance ZE PME loop test. I'm not sure what the actual test is called. I just know how to do it on this machine because a fellow electrician has shown me how to do it on one of these machines. It's to measure the insulation it's to measure resistance upon, say, sockets. So what I can do is I can plug this in, I can go to a socket, and I can test that the insulation resistance is not above one, subject to where I am and what I'm doing. But for what we're doing with like 3 or 4 sockets or something, like whatever I may touch, or when I have to put a stud wall up or do something, please don't ever do this as a trade. This is just something I've got for me personally in my house. I've built this gym, I've wired this gym. You've seen me do wiring for friends, as in the last video. I've done wiring for the mother-in-law and different stuff like that. I literally do it for friends and family. And it's not something I offer to them, it's something they know I'm capable of. I am looking to do an improvers course very shortly. However, as of today, at this current point in time, I'm just Charlie and I'm just CP Carpentry. I'm waffling. Let's get back to the message. So previously, with those downlights, everything was on hyperlapse and I didn't get the opportunity to explain something. So what I did was I took a plug and I wired my 1.5mm cable, clipped and sent it to a plug. And then basically, because this is fused, this is no different to plugging in an extension lead. Essentially, that is where I was going with that. If you guys wanted a method of not using an electrician basically to install lights, as long as that's got a fuse in it and it's the correct fuse. So for lights, you want a 5 amp fuse, even though it's a 6 amp lighting circuit. Put a 5 amp in there to protect it. And sockets, you can't really do sockets because you're not going to get 32 amps, but you could put a 13 amp fuse in one of these, and you could do a 2.5 flex radial circuit to make an extension lead, say. You couldn't exactly do a daisy chain of sockets. You don't want to be doing stuff like that. That's just bad news. Someone will trip on something, it will look messy, it will look untidy, you won't have conduit. Get to the point, Charlie. Right. I now need to find the correct screwdriver. You'll do. Right. Let me bring you in. Right then, guys. Is that actually working? Let's move it on. Right, finally we've got audio on. I guess that last piece had no audio, so sorry. Welcome back. Welcome back, YouTube. Today's episode, I forgot to demonstrate what I was doing there. I forgot to demonstrate how I'm wiring up a plug and I was talking. Welcome back, YouTube. I am CP Carpentry. I love to educate people on DIY subjects and like how-to videos. And this camera is the DJI Pocket 3 and it's currently trying to pick up my face. And I don't want it to do that. Welcome back, YouTube. I'm Charlie, this is CP Carpentry. So, of course, I'm not really the right person to be talking about electrics, but a bit of context to my electrics. I'm not just a chippy. I do things with friends. So this is not mine, this is from a friend. I do things with friends where I gain this information about the electrics, and I'm very close to doing an improvers course so that I do kind of have a little bit of leverage on teaching you guys electrics. So that's a bit of context for today's video, because at no point am I CP Carpentry and trying to promote to you guys, copy me, do your own electrics, avoid electricians, because the electricians absolutely know what they're doing, and you should always call an electrician if you're not comfortable. I am simply here to give context to the last episode where I wired up some downlights for a friend. All my friends know that I do electrics. I only do my electrics for friends. And where have I got this information from? I've got this information over time served, like the last 10 years. I've seen updates with 17th edition, 18th, and now 18.1. I don't know it off the back of my hand, but I know certain things because I'm not just a carpenter. Previously, I've seen houses built. So I've seen everything from Harris fencing going up, ground being cleared off, diggers coming in, to there you go, sir and madam, here's the keys to your new house. I've seen everything from start to finish. So that's where I get my knowledge on this from. And it's what I'm here to talk about and trying to do as a carpenter, even though this is not really a carpenter's job, it's just, I want to offer this information because I feel electricians won't offer this information because they want you to just call an electrician, which is correct. You should always just call an electrician. What I'm trying to do today is give you a bit of information on when you take that socket off the wall and you're like, yeah, no, I'm just going to extend this and I'm just going to put that in over there, and then, oh yeah, no, actually I'm going to, or maybe you're taking this off for the first time and you're like, looks a bit burnt. I wonder if that's all right. Well, if you can see it's burnt, it's not all right. Call an electrician. So in today's episode, I've got some awesome little lenses that I'm going to use here on the Pocket 3. We're going to be able to do some close-up shots, some wide shots, and I've even got an anamorphic lens, and we'll show you what that does in another video, because it's not really for today's video, I don't think. Actually, let's try it. Let's try an anamorphic lens. You ready? We're going anamorphic in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that just widens my shot and gives like a little glare. So if I've done this, you should see some lines. Wow, what will you? Anyway, enough with the cinematics and stuff that I like doing. DJI, Sony, if you're watching, Neewer, K&F, Concept, any of those guys, if you're watching, I love your kit. Find my email. I'll happily do a video on something for you. Back to the video. So at the end of last week's video, well, the last episode, I was, I've got the right one there. Is this one better? This one might be better, yeah. No, yeah, marginally better. Right, so here we have a plug. Every plug either comes with nothing or a 13 amp fuse. How do we know that, Charlie? Right, take this out. 13A, 13 amp. 13 amp is fine for most things that a plug is involved with, until you get to say lighting. When you get to lighting, we want to, no, they're 3 amp. We want to drop down to these. We want to drop down to a 5 amp fuse, 5 amp. I'm going to show you a few different ways you can wire a plug. And for context, guys, the reason why there's only blue and brown in this plug is because this was used on 110 volts on a builder's item. Why some things in 110 don't use earth, I'm not sure. It's something to do with it can't hurt you, so it doesn't need to be earthed, which is stupid. If you ask me, I think everything should be earthed. I also think radial circuits should be new, the next best thing, and I don't believe in ring circuits. So this entire workshop setup is actually radial with RCBOs, not MCBs. Right, so if you're a DIYer and you want to learn how to wire up a plug, listen up. This is 2.5, no, that is central heating cable. Be right back. Right, so previously in the last episode, you see me wiring up cable, downlights using T&E, twin and earth. 2 live and neutral, and then an earth cable. Two copper conductive cables, and then an earth cable. This is flex. This is ideally what you should use with a plug. And on these cables, using my next lens of choice, which is going to be a 20mm macro lens. I will now show you how to read these cables. Let's put this on, it's going to get blurry. Oh, where's me glasses? I can't find me glasses. Let's come around here. I can't even see it now. Right. Oh, it's the wrong way around. Get that the right way around. No, that was the right way around. Was it the right? Yeah, it was the right way around. So then guys, in stamped on this cable, you can see right there, 2 times 1.5 and 1mm. This equals that this cable has live, earth and neutral, twin and earth. And then that stamp, where is it? And then these stamps along here tell you what size cable it is and tell you that it meets the cable code. So in your house you might find some 3-core like this. So here we can see brown, black, earth, copper and grey. So this is called 3-core. So the way this normally works is you would normally find permanent live, switch live, earth and neutral. But nothing stops certain people doing neutral as black and switch live as grey. You may also find red, black and yellow. Red would be live, black would be neutral, earth and yellow would be like your 3-core cable. Sorry guys, I'm trying to think of this on the spot. Apologies if I get this wrong, because again, look, I'm not an electrician. When it comes to it, everyone can wire this differently. There is a code that they should follow, so it should be permanent live, switch live, earth and neutral. But until you bell things out using something like this, you would never know. So this thing will test for continuity and tell me whether things are live. Right guys, I feel like you've had enough of anamorphic and macro. Let's try wide. Whoa, look at that. That makes me look like I'm miles away. Right. So yeah, I've just done a bit of waffling about 3-core cabling. I'm pretty confident brown is always a permanent, black is always a switch, earth is always earth, and grey should always be sleeved in blue, which is neutral. And black should also have a tiny little brown sleeve in. So this is what you should see. I'm getting carried right away here. Right guys, so that is pretty much how this cabling, once it's in something, should look. Yeah, you shouldn't see any copper. If you can see copper at the bottom there like that, bad practice. And again, when out the back of your switches or your stuff, you shouldn't see any copper. If you see copper, call an electrician. If you feel it's dangerous, that is your interpretation. I'm not here trying to tell you you should panic about seeing copper, but it's bad practice, okay, is what I'm saying. Equally, these whole things, these whole like little electrical videos that I'm doing, again, I'm gonna hone in on, all I'm trying to do is educate you on a bit of safety. I'm not teaching you how to do anything too much. I'm just trying to teach a bit of safety so that you can see something and interpretate whether that looks good or bad. Connector blocks, chock blocks, whatever you want to call these things. It's not bad if you see them, but nowadays you should see stuff like Wagos, 221 Wagos. These are far better than when you see stuff like this. Back to the plug socket. Right, so in an ideal world, we want to see flex coming out of our socket. Now, subject to what you're wiring will be subject whether you want to use, then subject to what you're trying to wire will determine whether you want to use 2.5 flex for, say, an extension lead to power lawnmowers or 13 amp appliances, or whether you want to use something like 1.5 flex, which would be more for lights. So let's go through how not to wire this. Here's how, number one tip, how not to wire. Number one way not to wire up plugs. Second way not to wire up plugs. Get yourself a pair of snips, or I don't actually have some with me, side wire strippers. They're called wire strippers. You would squeeze them, it would clamp down and it would pull it apart. Now, I've been working with an electrician all week and it appears I've lost my proper cutters. Hold tight guys. As if. Right, I'll insert a clip
But guys, you can buy these cutters, but they have like, they don't have holes blown in them, right? But they don't have holes blown in them where I've chopped through live cables and stuff, and you'd be able to pull. Alternatively, my favorite way is these Knipex things. Take the flex, place it in the jaws, twist, pull. Let me put the macro on, just to clarify how good these are. I mean, electricians are gonna know how good they are, because you guys have probably got them. But honestly, they're incredible. So let's drop the wide angle, and let's go back to the macro. Right then guys, check this out. There is no copper exposed, okay? If I'd done this, and then tried to do, it's not the end of the world, but look how hard it is for me to do this clean, right? And then also, I run a high chance that I would damage this. See, look, there's stress on the cables there, compared to Knipex, lay it in, clamp it, twist, pull. Beauty. Absolute beauty. Right, let's move you around. Let's get back to that anamorphic. Ah, don't want face track enabled. Drop you to there. Right. Can you guys see what I'm doing? You guys can probably just about see what I'm doing. Wicked. Right. So now that we have our flex nice and neatly cut, pass this up into your socket. Your plug. Get yourself your screwdriver, clamp down on that. Tug test. Is this plug gonna make a good plug? Yeah. Now then, we can start thinking about laying the arrangement of this plug. I'm gonna take this, snip that. Next beautiful thing about this is its little teeth. I can lay that in there on 1.5. Then I want to twist this. And I'm going to fold this over to get good continuity. So even though that's 1.5, by folding it over, I've now, this is actually 1mm flex, sorry. So although I've spun that together and bent that over, I've now got 2mm of conductivity. Doesn't mean I've got 2mm of cable, just in that zone I've got better contact for less resistance. Resistance makes heat. So the less resistance, better the plug socket will be. Right, what I like to do is I like to fold the cable over and sort of sit it in place. And I can nip that off, stick that in there. Now then, as a bonus, to make life easy, and then there's just this blue, which is neutral. I don't want all of that hanging out the back, so I'll put that there. That's going down there, that's going down there, that's going down there. There we go, guys. We now have a really neat plug with a 5 amp switch in it, with a 5 amp fuse in it. Screw this back, bosh. Now this cable, you didn't see it, but basically I'm gonna clip it enough so that no person could get their hand behind it, you know, and tug on it, or they could brush past it and catch it and rip it off the wall, electrocuting themselves, hurting potentially someone else as it falls off the wall. La 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 la. So there we go. That is wiring up a plug. Another thing to wiring up a plug, actually, I forgot to tell you guys. But you're all thinking like, oh mate, this guy's got so much to say. I have, but there's like so much to safety. Right then guys, let's wire up this plug together. Brown, the second letter is R for right. Blue, the second letter is L for left. And there's only earth left, so you bang that in the last pin, which is at the top. That is an easy way to remember how to wire a plug. If that's confusing, every plug is labelled live, neutral and earth. If you don't understand the sleeving colour, or lefts and rights and stuff like that, then maybe you shouldn't be doing electrics nicely. That's that. Right, what else can I show you? Sockets.